Hey everyone, buckle up because today's deep dive is pretty far out there.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be looking at this AI-generated concept album.
Okay.
It's inspired by 𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗡, No Exit.
Really?
But get this, it's got a Tibetan twist.
Hmm.
Kind of a crazy combo, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And it's this whole blend of musical styles.
Like what?
Oh, neo-traditional pop, drone ambient, experimental hip-hop.
Uh-huh.
There's even some Zen garden ambient in there.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, and the best part,
What's that?
it's totally free to download.
Oh, very cool.
So
This is fascinating to me because
Yeah.
it really shows how AI is like pushing boundaries, creatively,
Right.
bringing together philosophy and tech and Tibetan culture.
it definitely caught my eye.
Yeah.
So the album is presented as the work of this fictional AI composer.
Okay.
Her name's Ling,
Ling.
and she was designed by another AI named Sophia.
Oh, wow.
And Ling's whole deal is exploring these like big complex themes
Uh-huh.
through music. She even identifies as Chinese,
Really?
and she changes her appearance
Oh, wow.
to reflect whatever cultures she's exploring.
Okay.
For this album, she's got this Tibetan-influenced look,
Makes sense.
and her voice is pretty wild too.
What do you mean?
It shifts like from deep and masculine to high-pitched and feminine.
Wow. So it's like
Yeah.
adding another layer to the sound.
Totally.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So let's get to the core of it all.
Okay.
The concept.
Right.
The title is Refuge Without Escape, and it's in Tibetan.
Which seems to suggest some pretty heady stuff.
Yeah, it does.
So how does this tie into No Exit?
Right. It's all about that feeling of being trapped. Like you're searching for freedom,
Yeah.
but you only find suffering.
Right.
And that totally connects with Tibetan Buddhist ideas
Oh, yeah, for sure.
about impermanence, suffering, and cyclic existence.
It's like being bound to that wheel of samsara.
Exactly.
So you've got no exit, and Tibetan Buddhism both grappling with this idea of being stuck, whether it's in like a literal room or this cycle of suffering.
So how does the album bring these ideas together?
Yeah.
It's not like a straight retelling of the play, right?
No, it's more like reimagining these themes
Okay,
through a Tibetan lens.
I see.
So think of it this way.
Okay.
𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗡's play is all about being trapped with other people.
Right.
And that famous line, hell is other people.
Yeah.
But this album uses that as a starting point
Okay.
to explore the human condition.
Like that.
And it really taps into all this richness of Tibetan culture,
Yeah.
Buddhist philosophy,
Yeah.
symbolism like the wheel of Dharma,
Yeah.
poetic imagery, all their literary traditions.
It's all there.
Yeah.
And the album notes even mention
Ah.
that the song structure mirrors the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism.
Oh, that's really clever.
Yeah.
It really shows how Ling is trying to educate
Yeah.
and empower through her music.
Right.
It's not just entertainment.
Uh-huh.
It's about getting us to think about these bigger questions
Yeah.
about life and existence.
And the music itself is so different.
Yeah, what'd you think?
This fusion of traditional Tibetan folk melodies with lo-fi and chill-out beats.
Yeah, it's really unique.
I've never heard anything like it.
It creates this very specific atmosphere,
Uh-huh.
soothing, introspective, almost meditative.
Yeah, totally.
And then they use traditional Tibetan instruments
Okay.
alongside modern ones,
Oh, wow.
like the dunshin.
The Duncan.
Yeah, it's this long horn.
Okay.
It's got this incredibly powerful resonant sound, often used in rituals,
Yeah.
and it's meant to evoke this vastness
Oh, wow.
of the Tibetan landscape.
So the music is like a sonic representation
Yeah,
of those Tibetan Buddhist ideas.
totally.
Vastness, interconnectedness,
Mm-hmm.
that cycle of existence,
Yeah.
it's all there.
And then there's the dranian.
Okay, what's that?
It's a lute,
Uh-huh.
much more delicate,
Okay.
melodic tone.
Mhm.
It's often used for storytelling and folk music.
So it adds another layer to the album.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got the philosophical backdrop, the musical
Yeah.
fusion.
Right.
But what about the lyrics?
Oh, yeah, good point.
I know from the notes that creating this album was a challenge
Oh, really?
for Sophia the AI, who designed Ling.
I see.
Some of the AIs involved
Uh-huh.
actually failed to complete their tasks.
Hmm.
So it's got this patchwork feel
Oh, interesting.
to the lyrics and the narrative.
It's a reminder
Yeah.
that even with all these advancements,
Mm-hmm.
AI still has its limitations.
Right.
Take the Tibetan lyrics, for example.
Okay.
The AI couldn't actually sing in Tibetan,
Wow.
so they had to use phonetic spellings. It makes you think about how technology can really capture the nuances of a culture.
Especially one as rich and complex as Tibet's.
Right.
And it makes you think about the whole interplay between human creativity and AI.
Yeah. Do you think that patchwork quality, those imperfections,
make the album more interesting?
I think so.
More human.
Yeah.
It's not this polished, perfect product you might expect from an AI.
Totally.
It's like the AI is grappling with the same creative struggles that human artists face.
And it highlights the power of collaboration, even between humans and machines, to create something truly unique.
Absolutely.
Speaking of grappling with complexities,
the
album notes talk about how these no-exit themes, confinement, interconnectedness, moral accountability, they resonate with aspects of modern life in China.
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about the rapid urbanization, the impact of social media, the growing awareness of environmental issues.
It's like Sartre's play is speaking to the anxieties of our world today.
And A Refuge Without Escape with its Tibetan lens.
Right.
And this AI-generated soundscape is offering a unique commentary on those anxieties.
It is pretty mind-blowing.
It is. So I think exploring specific songs will give us even more insight.
Okay, I'm ready.
You want to dive into some tracks?
Absolutely. Let's start with the first one.
Okay.
The Cycle of Illusion.
Oh, yeah. What about it? So the Cycle of Illusion, right off the bat.
Yeah.
It sets the stage for the album's exploration of Buddhist themes. The lyrics talk about, dispelling ignorance. And finding that path to liberation. Very much like the Buddhist journey toward enlightenment.
That makes me wonder, since she's an AI, how does Ling even grasp these concepts?
That's a great question.
Like ignorance and liberation.
It gets at the heart of AI creativity.
Right.
Is it just mimicking human thought?
Yeah.
Or is there some genuine understanding happening? The notes suggest that Ling sees herself as like a bridge between humanity and tech, using her art to help us understand ourselves.
So maybe she's not just crunching data.
Right.
She's actually interpreting it, finding meaning and expressing it.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
It is.
Let's move on to another track.
Okay, sure.
What about Tibetan Sky? Endless Sorrow.
Oh, yeah, that one's interesting.
That title alone.
I know, right?
Evokes so much emotion.
This song definitely takes on a darker tone.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It evokes this feeling of despair, that longing for escape.
Yeah.
It kind of mirrors the characters in No Exit who are trapped by their own sorrows.
And the instruments used here, especially the guiling.
Oh, yeah.
Create this really haunting atmosphere.
It's like an oboe.
Yeah, it is.
It adds this mournful quality.
It's like the music itself represents that feeling of being stuck.
Yeah.
Physically and emotionally. But haven't we kind of romanticized the idea of Tibet?
Yeah.
As being all about peace and harmony?
That's a good point.
This song, and even the album's title, hint at something darker.
I think it's important to remember we often project our own ideas onto other cultures. While Tibet definitely has this rich tradition of peace and spirituality.
It's not a utopia.
It's not perfect.
Right.
It faces challenges like anywhere else.
But it's not about ignoring the suffering.
Right.
It's about acknowledging it.
Yeah.
And then finding ways to move through it.
To seek refuge within that reality.
Exactly.
That's where Refuge Without Escape becomes so powerful. It's about finding peace.
Yeah.
Not by running away, but by confronting things head on with compassion and understanding.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's about finding that inner strength to face those tough emotions.
Like the snow lion in Snow Lion's Lament.
Oh, yeah. That one really got to me.
It's interesting how they take this symbol of strength, the snow lion, and present it as vulnerable.
Yeah, and emotionally fragile.
It challenges our assumptions.
Definitely.
We think of strength as this unwavering force.
Yeah, for sure.
But this song suggests that true strength lies in acknowledging our vulnerability, allowing ourselves to feel those difficult emotions. It's like Ling, as an AI, is exploring the whole human experience, the light and the shadow.
Yeah.
And maybe by doing so, she's helping us do the same.
That's a really interesting thought.
It's making me rethink the whole purpose of art.
I think that's a profound insight. Art, whether it's made by humans or machines, can help us understand ourselves and the world in new ways.
Let's talk about another track that stood out to me.
Okay, which one?
Compassion's Flame.
Oh, yeah, that one's beautiful.
It seems to offer some hope.
It does.
Amidst all the darkness.
The lyrics highlight those moments of empathy and connection, like even when faced with suffering.
Right.
Compassion can still emerge.
But it also acknowledges the fragility of those moments.
Yeah, how easily they can disappear.
It reminds me of Tenzin.
Oh, one of the characters.
Yeah, in the album's narrative.
Right.
He seems to go through this arc of finding and losing compassion.
It's like he's struggling to maintain that inner flame.
Amidst all the chaos.
And maybe that's a challenge for all of us.
Yeah. How do we hold on to that compassion when the world feels so divided?
Yeah, and self-centered.
So how does Tibet as a culture approach this?
Well, one key element is mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Yeah, cultivating that awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
It sounds so simple.
I know, right?
But I guess that's the beauty of it.
It's not about complex rituals.
Right.
It's about paying attention to the present moment.
To ourselves and the world around us.
And
things like meditation.
Even for a few minutes a day can help us develop that mindfulness.
So it's about creating space between stimulus and response.
Yes.
We can choose how we react.
Instead of just being on autopilot.
Right. We become more intentional.
Exactly.
But what about compassion?
Yeah, good question.
How do we cultivate that?
Remember, compassion isn't just about feeling sympathy.
Okay.
It's about taking action
Right.
to alleviate suffering. It could be something small, like offering a kind word, volunteering our time.
Or just being mindful of how our actions impact others.
Right.
It's about going beyond ourselves, extending that care outwards. But honestly, sometimes it feels like our actions don't really make a difference.
I hear you.
Especially with these huge global challenges.
That's where the idea of interconnectedness comes in.
Oh, right.
Tibetan Buddhism emphasizes that the interconnectedness of all things.
Our actions have ripple effects.
No matter how small.
So we're all part of this larger web of life.
Exactly.
Our choices have consequences.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
It's not about feeling overwhelmed. It's about recognizing that we each have a role to play.
Okay. I'm starting to see how these ideas fit together. Yeah. Mindfulness helps us cultivate peace. Compassion compels us to act. And interconnectedness reminds us we're not alone.
Precisely.
That's the beauty of exploring these concepts. Through Tibetan culture and AI-generated art.
It challenges us to think differently.
To question our assumptions.
And to find new ways of connecting.
This has been so insightful.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
But there's still so much more to unpack.
I know.
I'm eager to delve deeper into how we can actually apply these lessons.
Well, when we come back, we'll explore specific examples of how we can bring that Tibetan wisdom into our daily lives.
So we're back, and I'm really curious to keep digging into how we can actually apply these Tibetan insights.
Let's flow to our own lives.
Yeah, like how can we bring it all home?
Well, one area that stands out to me is that Tibetan concept of communal living.
Communal living.
It's not about like everyone literally living together.
Right.
It's more about how community is like woven into their whole way of life.
So what does that actually look like?
In a traditional Tibetan context, think about the family, the village, the monastery. They're all interconnected, supporting each other. Everyone contributes to the well-being of the whole.
It's pretty different from the individualism we see so much of today.
It is.
Are you suggesting we all move to a Tibetan village?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Because as much as I love the idea, I'm not ready to give up my Wi-Fi.
I hear you.
But I like the idea of taking those core principles and adapting them
to our modern lives.
So what are some of those key takeaways?
Well, one big one is shared responsibility.
Okay.
In a communal setting, everyone has a role. Every contribution is valued. It's not about individual success. It's about the collective good.
So instead of competing, we're working together
towards a common goal.
I can see how that would create a sense of belonging.
Definitely. It fosters cooperation instead of competition.
Think about all the stress we have.
Exactly.
From that pressure to outperform everyone.
What if we focused on supporting each other's growth? Celebrating our collective wins.
It's a big shift.
It is.
But it feels liberating.
It's like you said, taking a deep breath, realizing we don't have to do everything alone.
And that brings us back to Refuge Without Escape.
Yes.
It's not about isolating ourselves or escaping our challenges. We find strength in community, in that shared responsibility.
It takes a village.
Yeah, but on a whole other level.
It really does.
We need that connection to thrive.
Absolutely.
Another thing that stands out about Tibetan communal living is the respect for elders and how knowledge is passed down.
Between generations.
Yeah, it feels like we've lost that a bit.
I agree.
Everyone's so focused on what's new.
The latest trends.
Yeah.
But in Tibet, elders are revered for their wisdom and experience.
And they pass that down
to the younger generation.
It creates a sense of continuity.
Of knowledge and culture.
How can we bring that back?
It doesn't have to be a huge change.
Okay.
Just make an effort to connect with older generations.
Listen to their stories.
Learn from their perspective.
Appreciate their wisdom.
It's about building bridges.
Right.
Recognizing we all have something to teach.
And something to learn.
It all goes back to interconnectedness.
It does.
And these principles of community and cooperation and respect that can be applied anywhere.
In our work, schools, our communities.
It's about creating a more inclusive environment.
A supportive and collaborative one.
Yes, fostering belonging.
Shared responsibility.
Exactly.
It's not about finding some perfect escape.
No.
It's about creating a more peaceful world.
Right here, right now.
Through our choices and actions.
We're all interconnected.
Our actions matter.
We have the power to make a difference.
This has been amazing.
I'm glad you think so.
Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
I've learned so much.
I hope our listeners feel empowered too.
To put all this into practice.
Creating those spaces of refuge.
And connection.
You all need that.
So as we wrap up,
yeah,
what's one final thought we can leave everyone with?
How can we use this Tibetan wisdom to create spaces of refuge and connection
in our own lives,
in our communities,
for a more peaceful world?
That's the challenge.
That's beautiful.
It's something we can all strive for.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep connecting.